Nation, welcome to the report. On October 11th, 2022, Alberta's UCP member of the Legislative Assembly and person who just learned her DNA is 90% stunned carrot, Danielle Smith became the 19th Premier of Alberta, a province where speaking out against racism is often mistaken as being anti-Albertan. Smith came into the job with baggage, having gained the UPC leadership on a platform of Alberta separatism, a delusional suggestion considering almost 90% of the province's federal crown land or Indigenous treaty territory. The rest is Starbucks, nothing but Starbucks. And then, in a stunning 10-day period, proceeded to prove she was the Liz Truss of Canadian politics by claiming that people who chose not to get the COVID-19 vaccine were, quote, the most discriminated against group, unquote, of her lifetime. A comment she almost, sort of, but not quite apologized for, saying she did not intend to trivialize in any way the discrimination faced by minority communities and other persecuted groups both here in Canada and around the world, or to create any false equivalencies to the terrible historical discrimination and persecution suffered by so many minority groups over the last decades and centuries. But then she proceeded to trivialize and false equivalency them by emphasizing that people who chose not to immune themselves against COVID-19 had been punished by not being able to work, travel, or in some instances, see loved ones. She also said she would give vaccine choice the same protections as gender, sexuality, and race, even though those last three don't involve a choice. And then, in a stunning misstatement, doubling down on her ignorance, she added that she could not think of another situation in her lifetime where someone was fired, not allowed to visit a loved one in hospital, or watch their kids play hockey, because, yeah, that's the same as being murdered for your skin color, sure. But Smith is apparently a thin-the-herd, every-man-for-himself politician, despite having a vagina. None of this should be a surprise to anyone. In April, Smith said the only answer for Ukraine was neutrality, adding that she understood why Russia would have a concern with a Western-aligned Ukraine armed with nuclear weapons on its doorstep. As is well known, Ukraine surrendered its nuclear weapons in the 1990s when the Soviet Union collapsed. And in February, she justified the Russian invasion, writing that two regions of Ukraine felt more affinity to Russia, a misperception based on the 2014 Russian invasion of those two regions and the subsequent sham elections by Russia. The fact that Alberta is home to about a quarter of all Canadians of Ukrainian heritage, and Canada has one of the largest Ukrainian populations in the world outside Ukraine, makes her tone-deaf remarks all the more cruel. But since Danielle Smith is Canada's Liz Truss, we feel it's only appropriate to borrow a related British custom. Therefore, as of today, we've begun the Will Danielle Smith's premiership outlast a wilting head of lettuce competition. Stay tuned, nation. And now, this.